everybody, and welcome to ParaTalk One-on-One. This is episode 14, and my special guest is Nick Daly, the founder and lead investigator of Beyond Paranormal in Tomball, Texas. Hi, Nick.
Ooh, what's up, guys?
Thanks for being here. I know it's been a while. We've been trying to get this done. Schedules sometimes don't let us, but it's a good thing that we're getting to do this now.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So I've gotten to know Nick a little bit over the last year, and I would like everybody else to know about him. And since everybody has a story, let's start with that. What event or experience that have you had that piqued your interest in the paranormal so much so that you decided to create your own paranormal team?
Helping people deal with things like I did as a child. I like helping families deal with things that they may not be able to interpret on their own. A lot of this, it stemmed from just helping a lot of families. And, you know, like I said, I was affected as a child myself. So I know, you know, what people go through, what people have gone through. Like I've been through that, you know, being as a kid and dealing with that, my sister as well. But I started the first time I started realizing I could help somebody when I actually realized I was in the paranormal was probably, I would say, around 2000, a little after 2000, like, man, what I say, like 2001. And so I started doing it by myself. I started doing EVP sessions on a computer I had with a little microphone and things, and started catching, you know, different EVPs on my own. And then 2008 is actually when I founded. Actually, I can't say that I founded it by myself. I founded it with a friend of mine. He's also a co-founder. He's also a part-time member of Beyond Paranormal. It's Joey Bullock. But he kind of went and did his own thing, and so I kind of took the reins over from like 2009, 10, and I've just been taking it over ever since. And like I said, it's just what I love to do most is help families deal with things that they don't understand or things they may not understand. You know, hopefully get an answer for them.
Okay, so you said that you had an experience when you were much younger. And I know I had experiences when I was much younger, and there was no one to call at the time. You couldn't just pick up the phone and call somebody to come out and check your home and see what was going on. So how did you guys get through that? Do you remember?
Well, I don't even think there were TV shows on at the time. Like when we really started, when I really started to get into it. So you're right. There was really nobody you could call.
Right.
Kind of just you just kind of go off your your intuition, your instinct of, you know, about what it could be. But back then, you know, being I got a tape recorder. I had a computer is all I had at the time.
Right.
Attached, and you know, I can't really take that to people's house, but at that time, but you know.
Can you remember one of the first EVPs that you ever caught?
Yes, it was my, and this is crazy because I actually got a lot of them, and they like to say my name a lot, and it was actually something on the lines with my. I remember it was something along the lines with my name in it. And back in the day, they didn't really like me a lot. I guess I used a lot of provocation. I was a little bit mean, maybe. But
I think everybody did that at one point or another. It's too much Zach Bagans going on.
And then I saw that dude. It's like, oh my god, this is silly. I can't do this.
Right. Yeah. Did it really ever come a time when it hit you that, you know what, these are people, I need to respect them?
Oh yes, absolutely. And it was after one investigation I did, and it was after the Mary's house location, and I've done a couple of videos on my YouTube channel about that one. After that house, that changed my whole perspective because it was a residential case at one point, and then it turned into just, I got to go to this location all the time because I'm getting all sorts of different kind of activity going on here. And mind you, every time we went to this, and the reason why I went to this place all the time was because every time we went to this location, the activity was different. It was always different activity every single time. And, you know, going in and then going to that location, I learned a whole new respect because the different types of spirits that I encountered there. There wasn't just mean ones that I thought they were there. And when I came across, it was a little spirit, a little girl named Jenny. And She's always on, to this day, she's still on my mind. She would probably have to be the one that changed my whole aspect on paranormal investigation.
Awesome.
Provocation and stuff.
Right. Now let me ask you, you said you pretty much investigated by yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I have my own team, and I knew from the start, I mean, our rule was always do not investigate alone. Always have someone there with you, whether it be for just for safety reasons or because you just never know what you're going to run into.
Right.
So, I mean, how did that work for you doing this stuff alone?
I don't know, just, I guess it grew a hard shell for me, I guess. I don't know.
Were you ever scared?
No. Like I said, if anything, it just toughened me up. If anything, no, I don't know why. When I go into an investigation, this is from back before I had members on my team to when we're discussing when I was by myself. I go into the investigations with a mindset, and it's all about. I'm very strong mind. I'm sure you are as well. We do a lot of meditation. So I go into each investigation with a certain mindset. Basically, I feel like in my mind, I envision myself as like I'm a tattoo on like an archangel's arm or something. I know it sounds corny, but I go in with just a strong mindset. Just
right.
I got a job to do. I'm gonna find out what's going on, and just no fear comes to me. I don't know why. I don't know how to explain it. It's just something. It's always been a knack for me. Since, like I said, I don't know if it's because it's something that stemmed from when I was a child. Because when I was a child, I was scared. I didn't know what was going on. So now I have a pretty good grasp of what's going on. I may not know. I definitely know I don't know what everything is going on, but I have a pretty strong grasp of what's going on. So going into each investigation, it's just, I don't know. It just.
Okay, so let me ask you something else. What's the difference now having people on your team? I mean, does it make it more difficult for you? Do you actually enjoy it more? Have you learned anything?
It's very diverse. I love having members on the team. I love investigating with people. I think different individuals bring different things and different uniqueness to the table, which I think every team should have. I love it because each member that I've had on my team, from Joey, I've had quite a few members on my team. Each member has had their own uniqueness, their own special gift, as you will, that bring to the table. I love the new ones. I even have a new investigator, fairly green. I like the diversity of a team. I'd have to say I love the diversity of a team as opposed to going in by myself, whereas you don't know what you're getting into, but I'm prepared regardless. But I love the diversity of the team. It's fun, especially having everybody else's opinion on that. Right.
Now, I know, like, my team was very large. You still have quite a small team.
Right.
Mine, at one point, I think there were 13 of us. So it was, you had to schedule time frames and put certain people together and then mix them up to see if other people connected better. And so by having a smaller team, I mean, you're pretty lucky because you don't have to worry about schedules or anything like that. However, I know that we have hooked up with you guys on a few investigations now. And I know I've been a pain in the butt. Okay, I'll tell everybody this. We did a home investigation where the initial investigation I took control of, kind of. On the second investigation of the same residence, I let him do it. However, me and my husband wouldn't shut up. And now, I mean, I was almost like a kid because I'm so used to being the one in charge. I'm so used to being the one that has to tell everybody, okay, you guys need to be quiet. You guys need to step outside. I'm always the mean one on the team, the one that has to put their foot down. And so when you took over, I was like, oh man, I get to sit here and just wait, and I don't got to do it. And
And
we
it's
just had
weird
fun
for
with
me
it.
because what was weird for me is like you said, is I come primarily used to usually investigate it by myself. I would say
Right.
probably from my team's start to now, I've probably investigated probably 80% of the time solo,
Right.
and I'm not used to working directly with a lot of people, so that was that was a little bit different for me because I'm not used to saying, hey, go here, hey, go there, hey, you
Right.
go here, hey, follow me, let's do this. I've
Right.
never done that, and I'll tell you though, during that investigation, that was really, I've learned a lot in that investigation. Absolutely learned a lot, and that was very interesting. It was very good to work with other people though. I can give you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, it is fun. It does bring a different perspective, a whole new I mean, just y'all's energy is totally different. So, I mean, I think it's really cool, and I've met two of your members.
Mhm.
And I mean, I think y'all did a great job just getting to observe you guys working. I was, taking notes in my head, mental notes of, does this team, because there are so many teams
Right.
that, and you never know who you're going to end up with and whether or not they're really in it to help the family
Right. Exactly.
or
Exactly.
just for the thrill of it.
Right. And that goes with a lot of the deal with my team is we don't go for a lot of it for the thrill. Yes, it's
Right.
thrilling. Um, But that's really good about the members on my team is the fact that like they care about the resident, like the clients, as much as I do, because that's like I said, that's my number one priority in Beyond Paranormal is helping families. That's what I
Right.
do. Yeah, it's cool to go to cemeteries. I'll go do that. It's cool to go to to jails and haunted buildings. I love that. I would never turn that down. But like I said, it's good to have members on the team that like you said have a passion for helping
Right.
people, stuff like
Right.
that.
Now, let me ask you something. When it comes to deciding which families' homes, I mean, do you say yes to every residential case, or have you had to turn people down before or send them to a different team for any reason?
I usually, for the most part, I will get the facts on everybody. I'll at least try to go and do an initial contact visit just to kind of feel it out and just, see what's going on. Um, Now, if it is like, say, Louisiana or something or Oklahoma, I've gotten plenty of calls from cases out there. I'll get in contact with other places because that's just, I mean, it's kind of a far drive for me. I mean,
Right.
but so, I mean, it's a far drive for a lot of people, but I mean, I would love to go help them. But if I can get somebody closer to them that can help them, that I feel would do just as good
Right.
a job, I would rather do that. But no,
Have you ever gotten a case that is so bad that you were unable to help the family?
no, nope, absolutely not. There was one, and I don't know. Um, there was one case that I would have to say was probably the worst case, and from the last one I heard from, I haven't heard from this client in probably a couple months, maybe 2 months.
Hmm.
Um, this was an earlier case for me. It was probably around 2000 and I want to say 10 or 11. Um, that it was so bad that this lady was pregnant and she was dealing with dark energy. I'm talking bad
Right.
stuff. I mean, you've dealt and seen bad stuff before. This stuff, this thing was bad, or this spirit was bad, and it just I don't like to see people affected. If this the fact that this woman was pregnant. I didn't like that, but
Right.
it was so bad that I had to go back to this woman's house a couple of times, probably 3 4 times. Um, and I don't, unfortunately, I have a few clips that I was allowed to post on my YouTube channel. I wasn't allowed to post any of the video there because they didn't want it because there was some bad stuff that was said and it was pretty bad. But no, nothing that's ever held me back from finishing an investigation. I've always finished every investigation, at least to the best of my knowledge. And they are very well aware that if I need to come back, I would more than happy to come back. But no, nothing's ever halted
Right.
an investigation.
Do you think an investigation that, or a client, excuse me, that calls with a child in the home that's getting hurt or either physically hurt or is just scared in general is going to get top priority for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if there's much that I could do if a child's getting hurt, because I try not to deal with the psychological part of all of this, and that's what the best a part that most paranormal investigators, I think they get caught up in is the psychological part of all this. When it comes to like especially a child or something being hurt in the home, you can't. I mean, as much as I would want it to be paranormal, I would have to go all routes. If something else, I would hate for something else to be happening in the home other than paranormal. It would be they're very sensitive case. I would want to jump on them first, but I have to tread lightly.
Right.
I would just want to. They would be my number one priority. That's for sure. If something else wasn't going on in the home.
Right. Okay, so like I said, I've been on a couple investigations with Nick and his team. And I've noticed that normally, I'm the one that picks up a lot on stuff. However, Nick, you've got to be like more sensitive than me or something, because you seem to draw a lot of energy around you when you're somewhere. I mean, I pick up on it. I've gotten to where I have to stay at a distance from Nick because I can feel the energy around him. And like this last home. Now we're going to talk about that in another episode. We are going to go over this last home that we did a walkthrough together. However, there are times when I'm near you where I can feel you're putting up so much energy that I have to move because I'm either getting a headache from you or I'm picking up on that. And I'm a physical medium, so I physically feel the pain.
Oh my goodness.
Has anybody else ever told you that, or is this new to you because you're just starting with a team?
Well, actually, a lot of people, clients, I actually hear a lot of this from the clients is, well, after I do the initial contact with the clients, like whenever I go back, like the client knows, and they told me this, the client knows before I pull up to the house. They get a tingling on the back of their neck before I pull up. They know when I'm about to get there. And a lot of this, all what you're talking about with me, and it really started picking up whenever it's at this Mary's location. That's when I started seeing like light anomalies. I call them light anomalies. I see them all the time. I've experienced when I see them. For those of you that didn't know, I see these light anomalies around me. I see them around certain people. I didn't know how to explain them at first, because when it first started happening for me, I was only seeing like four different color light anomalies, and from that point, everything's evolved up to this point where it is now. And I don't know if it's just the way that I just stay connected or I keep my mind open about it, everything, but I'm just like a magnet. Wherever I go, they follow. They come home with me. They go to work with me. And now I'm slowly being able to interpret these light anomalies just by them connecting with me, I guess. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure of all this. But as far as when it's definitely it's strange that you say that, but the clients, they all know it's definitely strange. I can't explain it. Honestly, I can't.
Right. No, I mean, I can normally go into like a grocery store and depending, or any place, actually a restaurant, a movie theater, whatever, and I'll be near someone who has that kind of energy with them. And I always try to get away from that.
It's
and
funny
so
that I can see, I feel when I go to the grocery store as well, is I feel that certain things are attached to certain people, or things are following certain people. I can tell, and I just kind of, okay, like, I don't want to talk right now. Let me just
Right. Right.
Don't follow
Right.
me home right now.
Right. So now, has this sensitivity, did this just start, or has this been with you since you were a kid?
This is just, like I said, it just recently started, and it's, like I said, it's evolved from whenever I did Mary's location. Whenever I did that location, that's when I started seeing lights.
Okay, so before that, you can't remember a
No,
time when this would
not
happen.
one.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So, I mean, some people say that the more you investigate, the
Yeah,
stronger
I
your
think
connection becomes.
I think that's the case too, especially with all the cases that I've seen in the year.
Hmm.
I absolutely agree.
Okay. Because that got to a point for me where I literally had to hide from the public for almost a year. I had to keep myself away from the public. So I went from being someone who was always out, always wanting to be around people, to, hiding out at home. And that was my safe haven.
Right.
Um, so I hope that something like that doesn't ever happen to you. But I
No.
think I think you'll figure out a way of working with that better than I did, because it was really bad for me.
Oh goodness.
Okay, so we are going to end up doing another investigation of the home that we did the walkthrough.
Hmm.
Um, Now, I personally am looking forward to this
Oh, me as well.
because this was a pretty awesome, just the walkthrough, everything that happened. So y'all need to go check that out. Nick has that video up on YouTube, correct?
Yes, I
Beyond,
do.
under Beyond Paranormal.
Yeah, the Willis case walkthrough.
Willis case walkthrough.
Hmm.
And I will put up the link for that so y'all can check that out. And yes, that is me sitting there like this with my head down the whole time. Because I'll be honest, that was, I think that's only been my second time ever doing that Estes method.
Oh man, That's another thing I've been wanting to do, and like to go back on just investigating solo. That's one of the techniques that I wasn't able to do back in the day, investigating by myself. So it's
Right.
really cool to do that to do that Estes method and a lot of other different experiments as
And
well.
what do you think about that?
I
What is your honest opinion about this method? Because I see it on TV all the time. And
I love it. I absolutely love it. I want to be the receiver the next time. I want to have the blindfold, and I want to take a crack at it, and I want
right,
to check it out. Absolutely, I am a firm believer in this Estes method. I think it's wonderful. I think every investigating team should try it out at least once, just if you don't like it, you don't. If you do, you do. I think you will,
right.
and I think you should.
Now, the thing that I think that is the coolest is I've seen this method done on the TV several times in the past. And normally you hear the stations jump, 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 all the words, you hear lots of stuff and people kind of pick and choose their words.
Yeah.
During that walkthrough, it was nothing but white noise, except for the responses that came through. And that has never happened to me.
I've never seen that. I've never seen
So,
the spirit box or any kind of spirit talking device ever create just white noise and just have the words come out like that. I have
right.
never experienced that as well. Usually there's some kind of chatter or something that just noise that goes through, but never was quite like that. I wish I could have heard it. Like actually, we did when we had it on the SP11. We had the other station running. We did hear it like that, and there was just
Right.
strict words coming out of there.
Right.
You bet. Welcome back. All those words. Eddie, talk. I mean, those are really.
Right.
And you didn't hear anything else. All you heard was the white noise. That was pretty
Right.
something else. I like that. That was really nice.
Now, I know that you have a girlfriend,
Hmm.
and how does she feel about you doing
Oh,
what you do?
she's my number one fan. Oh my goodness, I couldn't have a better supporter. Honestly, she supports everything I do in there, and I love it. She's willing to jump into an investigation if I need her to. She's willing to hold the camera
Awesome.
if I need her to. I love having the support. The support is great. I
That
love
is awesome, because I know a lot of people get into these relationships. They
it.
have this desire to do this, and the other one's like, oh no.
No, keep that away from me.
Right. Is she ever afraid that you might bring something home?
Oh, I mean, she's knows I bring stuff home. I have. So it's the one time that I can really honestly say it's ever affected her. We had a client up in Conroe. It was one of my Conroe, the Amazon porch pirate apparition was really cool. That client up there, I went to go get my protective stones back and to give her some other ones that I felt were a little bit better than what I gave her. And we brought those stones back and we kept them in my girlfriend's car. And literally, with me not in the car, she could feel just the negative energy coming or whatever it was coming from that rock. It made it tight. So it's like she's felt the things that I brought home. So I think she's pretty much. I think she's pretty good though. I mean, she listens. She pays attention to what I've been doing. When I cleanse and I do all my things here. She participates in all of it. So she's very well adapted. I would have to say.
Good. That's another thing I was going to ask you. So you do some kind of a protective, what's the word? So, before you go into any home, you protect yourself. How?
Yeah.
What do you do?
What I do to protect myself is I go in and I go in. I'm a big praiser of Saint Michael the Archangel.
Okay.
So I say Saint Michael the Archangel's prayer before and after every investigation. I use a lot of Palo Santo. I definitely Palo Santo before I go in and cleanse my. Sometimes for the most part sometimes I use white sage, but for the most part I use Palo Santo before and after. But I definitely say my Saint Michael the Archangel prayer before and after every investigation. Absolutely.
Right.
I feel that gives me that mental strength that
you need. Yeah. And I mean, my husband and I usually just pray in the car right before we leave the location or just as we're getting there. And it seems to work for us. But I know there are a lot of people out there who they don't, they just go in and out and they don't think about the consequences. No. They don't think about the things. So I am glad that you are one who does protect yourself.
Absolutely.
I think that's something good for all these new paranormal teams that pop up all the time who just want to do what they see on the TV.
Yes, and I cannot stress that enough. Me personally, everybody in the paranormal world I respect, but I just personally don't watch the television shows, any of them. I don't know. I think that's all for show. I don't think that gets to the real heart of passion of paranormal. I don't know. There's certain people that have a passion, you know what I mean?
Right.
People that just, I want to do what they do on TV. And those people, I really try to avoid those, but those with the true paranormal passion, that's the ones I like. That's the ones I like.
Right. Now, let me ask you a question because this comes up. This was an issue for me actually, as an investigator, was the fact that there were so many cases that came that had to do with either children or the family being tormented all the time. They didn't want an investigation. They wanted someone to come and be like, take this stuff out of here. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't want anybody coming in here and stirring it up and making worse. And just by walking through and my personal, gift of sensing what was there, I would try my best to just do a cleansing or have someone come in for them that could do the cleansing for them and I wouldn't even ask about investigation. Do you ever, decide, okay, I'm not going to investigate. They want me to just cleanse or help them get help from someone else. I'm not going to force this investigation on these people. Have you ever done that?
Yes. Well, I try to do what makes the client. I try to put the client's mind at ease, whatever that may be. If they don't want a full-on investigation, if they just want me to come through. And I've had one, and ironically, in Willis, didn't really need an investigation. Just kind of felt some things were going on, and and it turned out to be something that wasn't even as bad as what they thought. It turned out
Right.
to be some completely harmless.
Right.
And so it's just, and the whole deal was it was affecting a child. It was, like you said, it was affecting a child, and I mean, I wouldn't say it was like harming the child, but it was there was harm. I wouldn't say harming either, but it was, I guess, like getting the client's attention more say than, I guess, harming.
Right.
But I did the cleansing the same, like you just said, and it was just more of like whatever. I'm more of on the lines of whatever makes the client happy. If they don't want to do an investigation, I won't do one. I'm not going to force one. And if I ever feel like I don't need one, I'll tell them, like, okay, look, which is in this case, I told them I didn't feel like they needed one, because I felt when you walk through, you can just feel the presence of a loved one, like a grandma. You could feel it.
Right.
And I had to explain it. I'll cancel an investigation on something on that nature if it's like.
Right.
Now, if I feel that it doesn't need any attention, then yeah, I won't do it like that. But
Right.
it's just usually for what the client wants. I just try to make the client have whatever they want. They're allowing me time to come to their home. It's whatever their time is. My time is on them.
Right. And I have to agree with that, because I've gotten phone calls, like I said, of people telling me that another team has come in and just made things worse. And now I'm at that point where I don't want an investigation because they didn't do anything to help me,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that you guys are willing to not investigate if it's not necessary.
Absolutely.
I think that there are way too many teams out there who tend to cause more fear and more harm by forcing an investigation on these people when they know that they can simply just help them. And if they can't help them themselves, they can always contact another team that is willing to help them.
Right. And I feel that's the inexperience, definitely the inexperience in that. I mean, any experienced paranormal investigator, I mean, I think I would at least hope we would have the common sense to abide by that. But every team's different, I suppose. I don't know.
Right. Right. And I
didn't know there were so many teams in Houston. Honestly, when I started being on Paranormal, I literally thought there was like maybe me and like another team somewhere. I literally researched for other teams, but maybe I didn't research good enough.
Right. Hey, when I started my team, there were 200 teams in Texas.
Wow.
And now you go back.
Stopped in Houston.
You go back and look at that list now, and so many of those are gone, because they, like I said, they were in it for the thrill when they realized it was actual work.
Yep.
Having to listen to all the audio and go over and nitpick every little thing. It just isn't fun anymore.
That's something I think people take for granted. For us, those who actually take the time to go over the video edit, man, that's a lot of things people take for granted, man. Oh my goodness, that's some work.
But it's awesome if you actually catch something.
Yes. Oh yes. Absolutely.
It's awesome to hear when you catch something.
I love doing it. I've been doing it so long I've done it for my team the entire time my team's been founded. So it's kind of like second nature for me. I'm learning. I'm still getting better at editing videos and stuff. I'm still not the greatest, but I'm learning.
Right. No, you did good. You did good with this last video. The one before that too. I was like, wow, I should have hired him a long time ago.
Trust me, a long time ago, you would have found me. You would have had me. Right. I promise.
So anyway, Nick, I just want to thank you again for being a part of ParaTalk and sharing a little bit about yourself. And you are all into the Para Unity, and I'm really glad that you support just about every paranormal team out there.
Absolutely. If you have a paranormal passion, if you like helping people, I'm going to be there to help you out. That's a fact.
That's awesome. Thank you so much again for being on the show.
Thank you.
And I look forward to doing the next interview with your teammates about the walkthrough.
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
So I will put the link to Beyond Paranormal so y'all can check out his YouTube video and also his Facebook page. You can find him on Facebook. Thanks again, Nick.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.